Welcome to Coffee Talk. So I made a video before and my darn hand goes over the mic and it screws it up. So we're just going to do it again. But I want to do a new thing. Send me your coffee cup with a brand and I'll start it, put it on here. So I want to talk about the whole spectrum of corn spacing and what's relative. We've got a lot of combinations here, and I'll just begin at the beginning here that it depends on your goal. And I think as we get more regenerative in our thought process, empowering the biology is what's going to be expediting this kind of goal. And I think as we think more about that than just maxing out yield, then 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you're going to be in a position where you can be much more efficient with your inputs. And also, if we all start doing this and sharing our ideas, we're going to have all these things that we can do to just get really aggressive with profitability. So on the 15-20 inch, if your goal is just to apply nutrients and make that kind of lower inputs on herbicide, the corn's going to canopy much quicker, especially as we get 15. The banding is less relevant. The only problem is if it gets hot, it really bottles in that heat. It bottles in the dew. So you're going to get more disease in there. So it's kind of an application dream, right? If you want to just do all that stuff, max yield, whatever, there you go. Get to 30s, 85, 90% of corn is in 30, so it's easy to acquire equipment. Strip till is easy, banding. 20, 40 inch is really kind of a neat thing. We get more of a solar corridor, and we can kind of row middle band. I'm thinking about doing some 60-inch biochar between the 20, so both rows can feed off of that biochar and kind of house some of our nutrients. And basically what I'm trying to get away from is the Y drop. It's great, right? But I want to spend time with that guy, right? Yeah, we got cool stuff to do in the summer instead of spoon feeding. So then you get to 40, 30, 60. Mitchell talked about that at No-Till Conference. One side, we've got the solar corridor to feed the cover crop. Another one, so we get more row spacing as we push population. We go to 60s, we got 2 or 3 inch row spacing. We can get, say, 54,000 row population on middle row, and we're where we need to be. I think we can max yield, and this is pretty cool. He was talking about moving the crop side to side, right? And think about rotation from what you did the previous year. If we really want to maximize solar corridors and yield, I think there's this space in 60-inch twins where we go back to that Great Plains thought of, diamond powdering it, maybe a 5-inch space, and now we can get corn the room to really operate. You've got these big-ass prop roots on there. And when you start pushing it, not only initially, but they really start running into each other. So it's hard to really slam them on there. You're going to give up some stuff. But truly, 60 inches easy. But I don't think max yield should be the goal. I know we're all plugged into all these subsidies and everything. But lowering that maybe a little bit, giving you a little zipper room, is going to allow this inner biology to really flourish. Another thing to consider as we push yield and population, you only have so much water. So anything we give up a little bit, we're going to get more unit production and more water to make this crank. So the more biomass and water and warmth we can come in here when it's actually relevant between late June all the way into September. If we can get this to just incinerate the biology in here, we're going to have and expedite this much quicker. So maybe our goal shouldn't be 100%. Maybe it should be 90, 95. Maybe it should be 80. But as we throttle that back, you get this graph right here where I had 31 ears one year on a corn plant. Did you pee on that plant? Yeah. That guy right there kept peeing on a plant, had plenty of sun, 31 ears. And this spectrum right here, as we cut population, that triggers about 18 to make the corn plant say, I can put another kid in the minivan, right? 2, but it might not have enough water to really fill that second ear out. As we get lower, we get 2 bigger ears than 1 ear at 35. And as we cut that down more and more and more, we get more yield. Now our total yield is behind, but it takes a big area. We can cut our yield in half and get 90%. We can cut our yield in half again and get 60%. We can cut that half. So now we're at a quarter or a sixth, and we're getting, say, 40%. And that's the power of thinking in this spectrum, right? Because then, you saw me put soybeans in here. We could grow another entity that maybe even actually be better. We can start getting chicken tractors out here. And I think that's going to be the long-term goal, to get the biology going. We can sprinkle some biochar out here. Now we can make apps where we've got the community coming out, and they own the chickens, and they're doing jobs for us. We're spreading our manure, and we're selling chickens. Chicken, 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 right? So anyway, it's all about the goal. This physiological dimensions is very important in the grand scheme of things. The corn leaf is about 20 to 24 inches from the stalk. So until you get to 44-inch spacing, you're not going to allow that light to be fully driven down to the ground floor. So you need that space. So when you consider these schematics up here, this opens up a window. This really doesn't open much of a window. It does initially where you can get something started, but it's still going to choke it off. I did that spectrum analysis with our corn soybeans. In 40s, the beans just bombed. They were all right at the beginning. They fell down, no yield. So the difference between the 40 and the 60 was almost 3 times. We had 70 bushel beans and maybe 20 or 15 bushel beans. It's very sensitive to this. This corridor is equivalent to a turbo diesel, right? That is what it needs. That engine needs cooling, it needs air. Your microbiology needs sunlight to photosynthesize, to exude, to feed, which feeds your corn. So it's compromised its goals. All right, thanks for watching. Shaky hands. Send me a coffee cup, and I'll put it on. If it's some crazy, snake oil for whatever, maybe not. But still send it to me. All right, see ya.